17-year-old Rune doesn't know what to do with his life. He desperately tries to feel good by taking drugs, watching anime and stuff.
Look at me, I'm so depressed. Instead of changing my life, I'd rather drown myself in self-pity and act like I was a tragic main character from an anime.
Luckily, he gets to experience a spark of hope one day and has the support of the best friend that exists on this planet, and so he's beginning to change his life by starting a journey. Hi, my name is Rune Jakob. On this channel I talk about self-improvement, philosophy and life in general, and today I'm officially journaling for over 1 year. And so I thought, why not talk about journaling today, as I've learned quite a lot through journaling, and like 1 year ago I was a whole different person, you know? I was completely different from now, you wouldn't recognize. So yeah, let me first start. Why did I even start journaling in the first place? And you gotta know, at that time I was almost like addicted to weed, addicted to alcohol. I was like consuming it so much, you know. Every weekend was a party, you know. Every weekend I was drunk and I never felt good with that, and I was also depressed and all that shit. And then there was one hope for me, which was football, which is why football is, for me personally, I love the sport. I'm talking about football, not American football, by the way. So this was the one thing that I had outside of the alcohol stuff. I had my football team where I was training with them, and that was the one thing I had, you know. I had the sport going like on the side, you know. In the league, you know, we had a league and we were like last place. We almost never won, you know. But what gave me hope was, you know, when I scored one goal, you know, for the club, first goal that I ever scored in like years. That's a whole different story, but I didn't play football for like years, and then I started it back again, and then it's a whole different story. But this thing was the one that gave me the motivation. And I know that I just at that time recently watched a video which was talking about journaling or something, or I was informed or whatever. And I know I had this book here, which is, by the way, my first journal. Right now I'm on my third. It's always the same. I'm a little bit autistic about this. I want to always the same format. But anyways, so then I started this, and over the year, over the months, days, whatever, this thing had an evolution like I did myself, you know. When I started the journaling, the first couple of weeks, I was still sometimes, you know, drinking, taking weed and all that shit. But eventually this got me to a point where I quit, because I got more into self-improvement. You know, I took cold showers. I started going running because I didn't yet had a membership in the gym. And so I ran for 1 month till I finally got a membership for the gym. And also like did some home workouts and all that stuff. And eventually like I completely quit alcohol, drugs, you know, cigarettes, all that bullshit, you know, that I used to do at that time. And then, you know, self-improvement really kick-started, and I made huge progress to myself, you know. I go to the gym, I build muscle, you know. Over this year, I lost about 10 kg. I don't know, I think it's 22 pounds or something. Let's talk also a little bit of how my journaling evolutioned, because in the beginning I was literally just writing down, yeah, so I did this today, I did this today, I did this today, and then maybe a little bit of like, yeah, this was not cool and blah blah blah, maybe blah 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 blah. But I didn't do some actual like deep journaling, gratitude journaling, or bullet journaling, which I do today. So yeah, eventually then I started to do gratitude journaling, which was the first thing that I implemented. So then the journal basically looked like, on top I write down what I did this day, like the productive things. I didn't write down the negative things because it's like kind of useless, you know. And then below that I write down at least one thing that I'm grateful for. And then I did that for a couple of weeks. And then I also started to write down my goals, like my to-dos for the next day, you know, below that. There was a couple of weeks after that. And then so I wrote down this cold shower and meditation. I also started meditating. It all started like the whole self-improvement program. It came and came and came, and then I had the whole routine stuff. Wake up. Now, as you can tell, the impact on my life was really huge. I think it can be really huge for you as well. If I had to start my whole self-improvement journey again, I wouldn't change something. But for someone who's like starting out and all that, I think there's one thing that is more useful still to start doing, and that is going to the gym. But journaling is definitely a big self-improvement habit, because you learn so much about yourself. You gotta understand that before I started journaling, I didn't reflect so much on what I did, and I didn't understand how and why I did the things that I did. And through journaling, I learned about patterns of mine, how to become consistent at a thing like the gym or something. Because before I was always like, you probably know this, right? It doesn't matter if you are consistent at something or if you aren't, but you probably know that when you aren't consistent, it's often like you have this one motivation, this is triggered by anything, and then you have motivation and you do a couple of days and then you stop doing it. And that is often caused by like a lack of discipline also. And when you journal about all these type of things and you ask why and all, you learn about your own patterns and why you do the things the way you do them and why you can't be consistent. And then you start finding the reasons behind it, and you become so much more introspective through journaling. And that is so powerful. And also bullet journaling, writing down what you have and then you can check off when you've done something, is also huge, because progress is what motivates you then. And so, yeah, journaling got me really far. One thing I didn't talk about yet is how I had challenges in the beginning, to being consistent. I always was consistent. You will not find one day where I didn't journal. But of course, that wasn't easy or something. I was completely determined to do it, and so I did it. By the way, if you want to watch my video about determination that I recently made, then you can watch that after this video, or I put a link here. But I understand, that it's hard to be consistent. So if you are still starting out and you aren't yet consistent, I will be brutally honest, when I go to this journal, I will probably, let me just find a page. There are many pages, that look like this, and rarely there are also some pages that look like this. So I didn't write a whole book every time I journaled. There's probably even 1 or 2 days where I only write 2 or 3 lines. Be consistent. That is more important in the beginning. Just don't be too hard on yourself. At least do everything. I know that is one thing that I learned throughout this whole process. Perfectionism is not gonna help you. Stop being perfectionist about yourself. Just put yourself out there, or just do the thing. It doesn't have to be perfect all the time, right? So I hope I could inspire you a little bit with this video. I hope you have also learned some things through that I told you my journey. Like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to this channel to grow along with me. And as I always say, remember guys, keep moving forward.